It's Friday morning, and you know what that means.
Podcast time.
That's it. Welcome,
That's it.
everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
I did a quite an interesting, took part in or listened to a webinar on Wednesday night. It was quite interesting at Aero South Africa. It was called Prop Clear. It was all about sort of getting ready for flying again, little things to think about. Everything of the fact that a lot of the airports, they're almost derelict. So when general aviation aircraft start flying charter aircraft and all that, there could be a lot more animals on the runway, there could be more birds around the vicinity, all little things like that. It was bringing to the attention of the guys that, you know what, when you start flying again, just give a few extra things a bit of thought. Particularly the guys on the general aviation side. Your aircraft might not have been flown for a while. Serviceability, all those sorts of things. So it was quite a nice thing to say, hey, this is a few things to think about, and before you jump in the air and start flying again. It was also quite a nice thing, and I'm encouraging guys. That's why I'm starting off with this. It's a nice way for the guys to stay in the industry, is to take part in these webinars and support the guys that are actually setting these webinars up. They go to quite a lot of effort. It's not easy. You got to put a whole panel together. It's quite a rigmarole, and it's a lot of work. It's a bit of effort. So support the guys that set these things up, and it's also a very, very nice way to stay involved. I think it's quite important. There's a couple of CIA ones coming out shortly. This Aero South Africa one was very good, had very nice speakers, and there was a woman on there. I think her name was Sankey White. Do you know who she is?
Yeah, she's part of the CIA, isn't she?
I'm not sure if she's part of the CIA. She spoke about what happens when a pilot calls Mayday. Mayday, 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 and then what wheels in motion start actually happening. It was quite interesting. I never actually realized that our search and rescue perimeter, it goes, it's basically the whole ocean all the way down to the South Pole. Basically, that South Africa looks after. And they talk about if there is a Mayday call, they have to start making provisions for the fact that there might be an aircraft crash, and they start organizing all these things. So when you call a Mayday, it's not just you're not just alerting air traffic control. There's a whole whack of things that actually happen. Quite nice thing to hear. I've never actually been explained it that way. So taking part in something like that, you get these little pieces of information out. It was great.
I'm sorry I missed it. Actually, I do hope I catch the next one.
Don't they record it? Can't you?
I'm sure we can find it recorded or something. I'm sure we can.
I'd like to try and watch it. Yeah, because like you said, guys, I think tend to take it for granted. You think you're going to dust off your books, get your uniform ironed, go out there and jump back in an airplane, and you're going to be able to sort of just get back into it, and it's not that easy. You remember we've spoken about it before. You take 2 or 3 weeks leave, get back to the airplane, you still feel
your thumbs.
It takes a while to get back up to speed, and then especially be ahead of the airplane. After having been on the ground for so long, it would certainly take me a while to dust off the cobwebs.
Anyway, that's why they're doing these things, is to bring little things to your attention so that you're ready to jump back in the aircraft.
What else is being done besides webinars? If the industry's opening up, and we're hoping domestically it's opening up, they're hoping regional, international, October, maybe. What is being done besides that to prep guys now?
I don't think an awful lot. I think everyone is waiting. I actually posted a question on there. It never actually got asked in the end because they ran out of time. I think they went an hour over their limit there. But I asked, can we all start getting behind opening up the borders? Can we all start focusing our energy on #open the borders? Because we can talk about this as much as we want. aviation can only recover when these borders are open, and that is just a fact. Aviation, you can't. The industry will not just survive here domestically. You need these borders open. The big carriers coming in and all that, and we know how big the impact is, not just on aviation, but on tourism and a whole whack of other industries. So I hope that everyone starts getting behind opening up the borders and at least putting pressure or bringing it to the attention of the people that we need these borders open. Still, a lot of people ask me, they want to go overseas, can they catch a flight? That you can't. You can catch a repatriation flight, but you might not get home. You need the borders open.
Yeah, the borders need to be open, and they need to also ensure that there's none of this quarantine
That's a big thing.
nonsense. It's a huge thing.
If we open the borders and there's a 2-week quarantine, it almost negates the fact that the borders are open.
defeating object.
Unfortunately, that's what's happened in Europe. France has now got a quarantine again. UK has implemented the quarantine.
Germany
again.
as well.
Germany, and they are the airlines, the European airlines. We just look at flight radar. They're going wild. Everyone is flying in Europe, but with those quarantines, it's an absolute issue. You can't afford to be locked down for 2 weeks.
No, you can't. But to answer your question, Brett, I think there's this sort of stage of uncertainty now where until there's clarity on when aviation fully opens up and the borders are fully open up and the CIA is fully up and running, a lot of guys are waiting for licenses, so they can't go fly aeroplanes at the moment. Until that actually happens, then I think it's just going to be webinar based, catch up with things, posted on social media, try and keep yourself up to speed. While we're talking about this, Craig Wood, who supports us a lot on the show, his company Aviation 4 SA, that is a fantastic place, not just his website but his social platforms for the pilots to be up to speed with the latest regs, the latest things coming out. There's no point in spending this period for the next few months not even thinking about flying. We might not be in the air, but there's no excuse not to stay up to speed with what's actually going on. Craig, every day he's posting stuff. This is what's happened. This is the update. I found out about that webinar through him. So he's a good source of information. I'll put his web address in the show notes. But Aviation 4, that's the number 4, and then sa.co.za. Great place. He's got that app about all the regs and that as well. It's brilliant. So check that out. Good source of gen.
Great source of information. I also saw from his website there was updates about the whole ILS story.
What are they planning?
Well, they've got an aircraft out here now. They've finished 3 of our airports, the ILS calibrations. So they're actually starting to.
Where have they done?
Joburg, Cape Town, so far. Sorry,
there was
so
two.
Just Joburg and Cape Town so far. Then they're doing George next. After George is done, they're going to go up to Durban. They're planning to be busy here in South Africa, probably till the end of September. But yeah, it's something
that's
to be done
positive.
about. Yeah.
You know what
That's
obviously
very good.
happened there? They obviously listened to our show,
They did.
got an aircraft here, and decided to do the calibration. So you see, we're doing good things here.
Well, it's the best platform.
It's
I don't know. I picked up a little bit of surprise in your voice. That's an obvious
Yeah.
one for me.
But
We
we were
get
just
things
talking
done.
about it earlier this morning as well, about who we're going to interview in this series that we've got coming up, and yeah, we're both a bit annoyed that Elon still hasn't replied to our messages.
Oh no, he got
And
back to me.
He doesn't
He
realize
just wants to do a one-on-one
the
with me.
exposure that he's missing if he doesn't come onto our show. But
Well, even with a single interview with the host, he's going to miss a lot.
oh yeah,
He's going to miss 90%.
yeah. The show is
quality.
gonna it's not going to be the same.
Talking about Elon, I went onto the SpaceX website yesterday.
He's still seeing you.
and clicked
if your
the careers.
CV's been accepted.
I clicked the careers button there. You must see how many jobs are available there.
At SpaceX,
Oh, yeah?
None that are really fitting for me.
there's only 2 that I'm interested in. Well, one actually. Well, actually 2. Yeah. One if he's
Cleaner and
got.
coffee maker.
Cleaning
but
the
it's
rock.
been
That's all that
taken.
I'm qualified for. No. But if he's got a spare seat on the Falcon 9, I'll take it. And he's just bought a second private jet. Got a
Second one.
Second one, yeah, shame. G650 that he had, he's bought a G550 now as a sort of backup, because he's apparently putting up a lot of miles on his Gulfstreams, you know. So, yeah, Elon,
As one does.
If you need a pilot, you know, there's
Give
two
us a
available.
shot. He's got that big Neuralink presentation, or it's a new update on what's actually been happening there this weekend.
Yeah, it'd
So,
be interesting.
He's a busy guy. But honestly, that website's got maybe 50 odd jobs available. If you're a software engineer, that's
You're
the
doing
place to
some
look.
coding.
Yeah,
There we go.
I'm learning to code.
Here we go.
With,
There you
with,
go.
with
Elon, if you want your rocket buried in the side of a mountain somewhere,
I might just surprise you. I might be able
Let
to
me
figure out
tell
how
you,
to send
even-
that thing straight to Mars. But anyway.
Even Elon wants some of his rockets insurable.
yeah, exactly. There's quite a few guys this week. We've been in touch with a lot of guys, a lot of our ex-colleagues and that are out there doing stuff, starting new businesses, working at new places. One of the guys, remember Moritz Kutzer from Cape Town?
Yep.
Moritz, he's a hell of a straight-laced guy, great pilot. He's joined a crowd, the Human Capital Group. And what they're pushing is what we've spoken about a few times before. If you need help finding out what your transferable skills are, setting up your new resume, your CV, to be more equipped for other industries other than flying, they're doing all this sort of stuff. So he's based in Cape Town. This crowd, they've been around for 17 odd years, the Human Capital Group, and they're quite focused on helping out the guys. Moritz actually, he sent me a nice email. Said, listen, that, you know, when they went into, they had to all meet there in Cape Town, it was a couple of months ago, a month ago, I suppose, to collect their SA Express UIF forms. And he said, you know, they went there, you know, he's worked at the company for, I don't know, 15, 20 odd years, sign a piece of paper, say goodbye to your mates, and off you go. And he said it was a really depressing exercise. And he saw a lot of guys there not even wanting to speak because of the sort of emotional turmoil that they'd gone through. So he's decided to actually do something, and he wants to help the guys out. They're doing a similar thing to the cockpit coaches that we've spoken to before, Martin Stork and those guys are based in Europe. But obviously this is a bit closer to home. I'm sure when when you can travel a bit easier, then go and see these guys, let them help you out with your CV and applications, whatever it might be, preparation, interview prep. Do you see this week there was quite a lot of stuff on pilot resumes. We've never really, Ryan can attest to this, when we've written a CV, Brett, it's always been so aviation focused. This is the types that I've flown, this is how many hours I've flown, whether it's in the left or right seat. A short paragraph on passionate about aviation, and off you go.
Yeah.
Very different to CVs you've probably written.
I'm just thinking of the comment you said earlier about getting UIF forms and saying goodbye to your mates and that. It's a tough time, it's difficult, it's emotional, but you cannot live in that world. You've got to get out of it quickly, otherwise you are dead in the water. So when you talk about getting your CV done and that, it's a different world out there for a pilot. There's no doubt about it. The business world, the employment world is very, very different. And effectively, a lot of the pilots are going into positions of probably junior positions, which is quite tough after being a first officer or a captain commanding a plane, to going to do some admin work or even starting your own business. It's kind of like you're starting all over again. So it's a massive learning curve. But it's only the guys that actually embrace that and say, I don't care how difficult it is, I don't care how long it takes. We sat with Brett yesterday.
Mate, Brett Neil Boss.
Yeah, and just sitting listening to him, moving into the industry he's moving into, totally unknown. Has no idea what he's doing, but he's committed, he's prepared to put his head down, he knows there's a long haul ahead of him. But he's made the decision. Things may very well change. The airline industry may suddenly just recover and everyone's smiling again. Highly unlikely. But at least he's committed and he's making that.
He's one of those guys. I said to Ryan yesterday, he'll make a success of whatever he does. He's one of those guys. That screw it, let's do it attitude. Take action, take proper action, and go. And we that's what we're trying to do. We'd want to help the guys. If you need to give us, call us. We'll help you with certain things, direct you. Just going back, because I think it's an important thing, Brett. The resume. A lot of guys, where do you start? If you're not starting with your aircraft types, your licenses, your flying hours, what are the guys looking for in terms of a resume? And are they even looking for a resume? I'm always out there pushing and saying, I'm not so sure they're as important anymore as your professional social accounts. Your LinkedIn accounts, I think, is critical. I'm adamant that anyone hiring someone today, number one place they're looking, let me see what this guy's doing on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So with resumes, a lot of companies don't look at them, but they do want an overall impression. You have to do something that attracts their attention. So your resume is good. It's not going to be about hours, but as we were talking about yesterday, the skills that you have as a pilot, those are transferable. Just rename them, for goodness sake. This is not rocket science.
It's also why I want to highlight for those guys as well that are pilots starting in new industries. Like we said to Brett yesterday as well, remember, to a certain degree you are starting from scratch, but you're not. You are starting from a different level of experience. Don't forget that. You're not starting...
No, don't undersell yourself.
Exactly.
Well, no pilot should ever undersell themselves. Nobody should in any case. You've all got skills. Problem is, guys just say, well, I'm just going to grab something, I'm going to get whatever I can. And maybe nowadays there is a little bit of that. But you've got to look at yourself, you've got to spend some time thinking, who am I? What do I want to do? What are my skills? What can I bring to the table? I did an exercise, and I've done this regularly throughout my life. Just take 5 people that that really know you, that you respect, that understand you, who you are, and just ask them to put a list of 10 things that they admire, that they can see in you. You'd be surprised. Things will come out there, and you will look at it and say, I didn't even realize that's who I was, that I had that skill. Not you. Don't. No, don't ask anyone. What are your skills?
I could see your eyes.
Yes. It goes south instantaneously. No. See it in your eyes. But it's so important. People forget, and especially times like this when you're feeling down, you've got to just remind yourself in some way what your skills are, and work on those things
and take action.
But I figured it out. Pilots are conditioned with that little experience block. That's conditioned to be actual statistics. I've got X amount of hours on a 172, X amount of hours on a Dash 8, X amount of hours on a 737. Some of those were in the left seat, some of them in the right seat. And then you back that resume up with your logbook. That's how it works for a pilot. So when it comes to experience, I think the guys are reluctant to say, hang on, they've got 15 years of experience in a flight deck. That doesn't mean they've got zero experience on other levels, other industries. The nice thing I read, I actually wanted to end it today, but if there's any employers out there looking to hire someone, if the nice thing I read on LinkedIn the other day, if you're looking to hire someone during a crisis, then hire a pilot. A pilot is a great person to hire during a crisis. The flight syndrome doesn't exist. He'll fight. A pilot will fight. If that engine's on fire, he's going to fight. He's going to put it out. He's going to find a place to land. He'll land that aircraft. Doesn't throw his hands up and start screaming and say, we're all going to die. He fights. And that's what a lot of businesses need right now. Someone to fight for that business and not give up and, play a role. I was listening to an audiobook, Simon Sinek's audiobook again the other day. I've listened to it before, but The Infinite Game. We're talking about companies that are they've got a just cause. They're doing something for a greater good. And a lot of these successful companies, the employees, the authority that the company gives those employees, and it's not just about the salary. During this crisis now, they were talking about Apple, but there's a few companies, Costco they mentioned, when they went through a bad stage, the employees actually willingly took pay cuts, reduced their expenses. They did all these things for the company. And I'd like to think that's very much of a fight type attitude. There is a crisis going on. They want to keep their jobs. What can we do to keep their jobs? Let's fight. Pilots are good at that. Give a pilot a chance. If there's any employees out there, employers looking out there for someone to take a role.
I think nowadays you've got more companies who they hire people because of their personality, their commitment, their drive, not about the experience. Time and time again, Elon Musk is one of them. I know we spoke about him before, but he is an example of that. He doesn't care what experience you've got. If you've got the drive, you've got the knowledge, you're sure. Software engineers, a different story. But a lot of companies want those people who are fully committed.
Yeah.
And pilots, hey, if the guys are out there and they're prepared to step up and do their thing, they will get positions. They will get something.
Yeah, and obviously this is for the guys that don't want to go the entrepreneurial route. If you do want to go that route as well, then that's great. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, have no desire to do that, and that's perfect as well. You don't need to have your own business to succeed in anything.
You don't.
Not at all.
This webinar also brought light to the fact that there's still a lot of people that are battling at the moment psychologically. It's more widespread than maybe we've actually given credit for. A lot of guys are battling. They had Damon Brown from Mayday South Africa on there as well, just saying, we are physically isolated at the moment, but that doesn't mean we have to be emotionally isolated. They've got a number, I'll leave it in the show notes. You can pick up the phone as a licensed aviator. You can pick up the phone and call them, have a chat. It's all confidential, and sometimes it's the right way. Don't take it out on your family. Give them a call, and just might give you a different perspective.
Yeah, just from understanding that situation, I think that pilots especially need to. I think there was always that viewpoint that I can't talk about my emotional state because it's going to impact my job, and I'm a man, or I know we've got female pilots here, but I'm just referring to guys.
Talking about Ryan.
Well, I didn't want to say it openly like that. But the guys often that ego steps in. Now you don't have to worry about losing your job. You don't have a job. Okay, so don't worry about a pilot having an emotional issue and someone saying you're not capable of flying a plane. And the ego thing is the biggest rubbish ever. Get rid of it. We all have it, but you got to get rid of it. It's no good going deeper and deeper into that hole, and you're too proud to talk to someone. Rubbish, man. Talk to someone. This is the new Metro Mail.
Talk to us.
I'm talking to Ryan.
Yeah, I've got no issues, man. I want to talk, but you guys aren't giving me a chance. So I'm just being a good listener today.
I don't want to talk about your manscaping.
Go.
Manscaping.
I'm sorry, I said I wouldn't mention it.
This episode's going south very quickly.
No, look.
Yeah. Here we go.
So,
I'll jump in.
Yeah, no. This is one of those parts where Brian's going to have to edit the cricket scene.
We're getting on to, we're trying to keep the episodes to, what's it? We said 30 minutes on the time. We're already up to 25. This episode today, our mate Richard Leroux, RGC Wood, his organizer over here. It's awesome. I've got one next to my bed at home. I love it. He makes these things. He sells these things. They're awesome. He does all sorts of things. Your floor's broken at home, your wooden floor, give him a shout. He'll sort it out for you. If you need anything done, Richard's one of those guys. He doesn't sort of say, "Oh no, I can't do that." He'll like make a plan. Give the guy a chance. Give his company a chance. He's doing really well. Makes great stuff. Haymick Aviation. This is not I'm not only supporting one family here, but he makes these awesome shirts. He can make. Am I right, Ryan? He can print anything you want.
Anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, caps.
Haystack and Michelle, great friends of ours. Haystack flies for Safair. Michelle flew for SA Express for many years. Awesome family, deserve a break as well. And our good mates in Durban, Mark Mason, Heartfelt Country Meats. He's advertising a lot. It looks awesome. We haven't been able to get down to Durban.
Yeah.
I think his place is in Belito, am I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But Heartfelt Country Meats as well. Thanks for all your guys' support. And anyone else, we really want to support you. We want to support your new venture. So give us a call. If you need help, like we said, with the advertising side, with the social side, then we're very keen on that. I take quite a lot of gratitude myself and a lot of energy from actually helping on the social side, because I think it's something that we've sort of figured out by trial and error, and we're fortunate enough to have the time to do that. But now there's a lot of guys that are starting. They need to get their stuff out. They need to promote. They don't necessarily have 6 months to figure this whole social thing out. So if you want to save a bit of time, Brett's a real expert on the LinkedIn side. He understands the algorithms nicely. He can help you with your profile page. Come and see us. We'll sit with you, sort that all out, and we've got to connect with each other. We've got to engage with each other, promote each other's things, help each other. This community, how small is the aviation community, the hospitality community, tourism? It's incredibly small.
Yeah.
It's very tight.
We've got to really support each other through this whole thing. You know what I find? I was driving here this morning. There's no international flying going on. You've said that. How many aircraft are there always every day parked on that apron? Have you guys noticed? This morning, Swiss Air was parked there. KLM was parked there. British Airways is there almost every day.
It's all these cargo flights that they're operating, and to a degree some repatriation. But yeah, there's still some of it going on.
But I mean, are Swiss now doing cargo?
All the airlines are doing cargo.
Looks like, but I'm sure this is a lot of repatriation stuff going on. Or repatriation in inverted commas. It's not true. Come on. It's not real repatriation. 3.5 for how long we've been into this stupid lockdown.
Yeah, I know. You've got all these, and we've heard the stories, we've mentioned it, anyone with a foreign passport catching a repatriation flight out so they can have a holiday in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a home in Portugal, guys are going to go. If I did, I'd go.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. This whole COVID thing is rigged. It's nonsense.
I knew you would talk about COVID.
No.
I knew it.
But at least
You
Africa.
started.
That was just bait for you. That was bait. And you bit it. That junior guppy hopped it. Africa's opening up. I mean, Emirates is flying into Sudan now. Guinea as well. So Africa is slowly opening up.
Emirates are adding stuff, I think, daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airlink
So
adding a
it's
lot, Airlink adding a lot of flights. Same Air flying to Margate now.
Yeah.
They're adding stuff. So domestically, we're doing all right. Hashtag open the borders.
No, South Africa just needs to follow suit. I mean, a lot of African countries, Namibia, Tanzania, Zambia, Kenya, Ethiopia, Nigeria, all opening up end of this month, end of September. So
That's it.
Yeah.
yeah, if
Hopefully within the
Ramaphosa
next
can
month we're
listen
gonna
to this
see.
episode, maybe in 2 weeks' time we open up as well.
Yeah, let's hope so. But let's get behind opening up the borders. We need it. The country needs it. And yeah, thanks for your support as always. Visit our website. Check out all the episodes. We're everywhere. Amazon Music, Apple, iTunes, Spotify.
And you got to, if you haven't seen it, you have to watch our YouTube Please Subscribe video. You have to go and watch that.
That was fun.
I you know what, I think I've watched that video 30 times, and every time I cry with laughter.
No,
You gotta
we
watch it.
had great fun making that video. We're trying to get people to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is easier said than done, actually. But yeah, we'll get there. Go check it out. It's quite funny. And we'll see you next week. Every Friday, we here.
Always will be.
Cheers, guys.
Ciao, boys.
Cheers.
And girls.
Well, that's all for this week, folks. Thanks for listening and for your continued support. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already and pass the show on to your friends, your families, and your colleagues. If you'd like to get in touch with us, my email address is in the show details. Stay positive, keep the passion alive, and we'll see you next week. Cheers for now.
Happy birthday, Shane. Welcome to the Dirty 30s.
Happy birthday, Shane. Thanks for the support, man.
Every year, millions of people are affected by the corrupt acts of a few government officials. It's time we blow the whistle. Every year, millions of people become YouTube sensations because their mates subscribe to their show. Hey guys, what's that?
It's our new PPE masks that just arrived.
How did we get those?
An ancestor of mine just won a tender.
Let's make sure we get our cut, eh?
Subscribe to the Brian Ed podcast. It's the right thing to do.
And open the borders!